our top 10 games that were on crowdfunding in 2023.
Thank you for joining us here at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Kevin.
I'm Melissa.
And we are talking about our favorite games that were crowdfunded in 2023. Now, this video is a little bit different because at the end of the video, a few other folks from Tantrum House will be joining us and sharing their favorite games as well. So check that out at the end.
So we want to basically explain that these are games that we have played or previewed during the year. So there are tons of games that were on crowdfunding.
Yeah. We're
only looking at the ones that we have personally played.
All right, are we ready for our number 10?
All right, let's jump in.
Number 10. All right, our number 10 is Nestlings from Tangerine Games. I was introduced to this game at TantrumCon 2023, so earlier this year.
Yeah, February.
In February. And they were one of the people that were showing it off at one of the demo tables. And I was like, oh, that looks really interesting. The artwork really drew me in. And this is Tangerine Games' first game they've ever crowdfunded on Kickstarter. And it has this bird theme. So, the wingspan sort of vibe sort of caught me a little bit. It is a dice drafting game for 1 to 4 players. I like that dice, drafting and placement.
You love stuff with dice placement.
The dice placement. I'm not a fan of just, regular, dice games, but, the dice placements. For some reason, I like that in games. I like wooden dice, and Nestlings has wooden dice. This also has a little bit of an area majority feel.
See, I have not played it, so yeah. I can't contribute to this one.
So in the game, you are rolling dice, you are placing those dice in the different biomes, you're collecting resources, and if you have more dice in a certain biome, you're going to get more priority on what you are going to receive. There's this little other area where you can upgrade to get other benefits in the game. So I like a lot of the different things. It's very easy to understand and fun to play. I think it's a great family weight sort of game. And 1 to 4 players probably plays in 30 to 45 minutes, so pretty quick. All right, that was our number 10.
Number 9. So our number 9 is not necessarily a reprint, but a new edition,
sure,
maybe?
New edition.
It is Colossal Cat in the Box from Bezier Games. And Cat in the Box came out maybe last year or the year before. It's a trick-taking game where the cards do not have a color on them. You declare the color when you place them. Well, this version is bigger, so a lot bigger than the original one, easier to see, but then it also comes with 2 expansions. There's String Theory, which basically connects more of the spaces on the board because you're trying to get your tokens connected to each other to score more points.
I think I like String Theory a little bit more.
That's the one that you like the most of the 2 expansions. Yeah. The other one, Doppler Effect, gives you a little, it makes it a little easier to place your tokens because a lot of the spaces have more than one number on them. So it might have the blue 1 and 2 or the 3 and 4. So it reduces the paradoxes, I think, when you can't play a card because you don't have that color or number available to you anymore. So we had a chance to play these. They were both fun. Kevin likes String Theory. I don't know if I could pick one at this point. They both add some different dynamics to the game.
I just like that it's bigger, like you said. I mean, the Colossal Cat in the Box, not that the other one was too small, but I just like that you can play it with people who may have sight problems.
It makes it more accessible to more people.
A broader audience.
And it comes with a giant cat figurine, which is pretty cute.
Number 8. Our number 8 is Mayan Curse from Crazy Like a Box. This one sort of came out of nowhere. Another newer company, and this is a game for 1 to 6 players. Takes about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes to play. It is this sort of push your luck temple run game where you're going in and collecting artifacts and coming back out. And so the theme just is kind of fun. Also, the table presence in Mayan Curse, I think, is one of the big things that sort of whoa, what is that? Because they have these sliding panels.
Yeah, it's very tactile.
Yeah, and in the game you're choosing action like tiles that connect different colors, and you're racing into the temple. And tell us a little bit about staying in too long, Melissa.
Every time, or almost every time. So at the center, or at the very end of the temple, are these concentric circles that you're trying to get up. And if you get to the top, you get the camera token, which is worth 15 points, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah. But
it takes a long time to get up there. And as you're taking time to do that and then having to come back, there are these boulder cubes,
stones
that are rolling towards the entrance and
sealing you in.
Yes, I one time was one step away from the exit and I didn't make it. I had like 70 points or something amazing, and the person who actually made it out,
like 11 or something.
Yeah, had like 12 points. So I collected so much knowledge, but then was entombed into the thing.
Lost for eternity. I think just the gameplay experience is not like you win or... I mean, winning and losing is fun, but just like the experience of playing the game is enjoyable.
Yeah, you are sliding these tiles on the floor to try to match up symbols, and that's a very interesting puzzly aspect to the game to see if you can create long paths for yourself, but then other people might also be able to use them.
That's Mayan Curse from Crazy Like a Box.
Number 7. Our number 7 is Dungeon Kart from Brotherwise Games. This plays up to 8 players. This is basically Mario Kart in the Boss Monster universe. You have those characters that have been introduced in the other Boss Monster games from Brotherwise, and they have these carts racing around tracks with obstacles, and you have items that you can shoot at other people and try to blow them up or move them around or get them stuck. And you're basically trying to win. It's controlled-ish chaos.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite games in this is the asymmetrical player powers that you can get at the beginning of the game, that you are, as your character, and you're sort of using that as, efficiently or as best as possible to use those powers to get around the track or around other players, or, maybe hurt other players.
It's definitely confrontational and aggressive, but in that kind of fun aspect. And it's a pretty short game,
Yeah, everyone's doing it. So it's not like just one player is being confrontational. Everyone is. So it's sort of like everyone is okay with it. Number 6. We have Critter Kitchen from Cardboard Alchemy. This is for 1 to 5 players and takes about an hour to play. I switched for this playthrough that you guys did. So tell us a little bit more about Critter Kitchen, although I think it's amazing too.
So this is the same company and same illustrator as Flamecraft. So first off, it has gorgeous art, cute critters that you can look at during the game. This is basically a programming game where you're sending your different chefs to the market boards to try to get ingredients to make recipes. Now you're going to secretly assign a location to each of your 3 critters, but some of them are fast and they can't hold a lot, like your mouse. Or your boar can hold 3 ingredients, but he's really slow, so he's going to go later. You don't know where the other players are going, so you decide, I want to go to the night market or the black market. I want to go to the soup kitchen, the different places. Everyone reveals, and then you put them out and see who gets stuff and who doesn't if too many people went to the same place. So there's definitely some player interaction and thinking about what other players might want, because you can see the ingredients that are available. And so one location may have all the good stuff, but you're like, I think everyone's going to go there, so I'm going to go to a different place. But then everyone has that same thought.
So everyone goes there.
And no one goes to the good place. So really interesting how the rounds turn out, and there's a lot of flexibility with how you use your ingredients. And do you save some for the final thing that you're doing for the food critic, or do you use them earlier for other dishes to gain points along the way? Critter Kitchen, I had a lot of fun with it. Number 5. So our number 5 game is The Search for Lost Species from Renegade Games. This is basically a successor to the Search for Planet X.
Yes.
Deduction game, one that I love. It's been in some of my top lists. Yes.
Logic deduction.
Logic, not social deduction. So this one brings a physical board that you're walking around to different terrain and then searching the areas to figure out what species are there. There's logic, rules, things like, oh, a toad's not going to be next to a snake, or these types of animals are going to be all bunched together in a flock. Yep. So you're using those logic rules to eliminate what can be in certain spaces and figure out what is actually there.
I also enjoy these logic deduction games. I'm more where I make leaps of logic, and Melissa doesn't like that, so...
He just like, hey, this sounds like it might be good.
It really could be. It's a 50-50 chance. I'm like, I will take that. And sometimes I do really, really well, and then sometimes I miss, and then it throws Melissa off.
If other people are kind of being like, oh, Kevin's going down this path, we should follow him, don't follow Kevin. He might be lost.
Yep, I might be lost. I did hear, Melissa, that they found... Like, scientists found one of the lost species this year?
Yes, so these are all animals that basically we know have been in recorded history and then haven't been seen for a long time. And one of them, I forget which one, has recently been rediscovered.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they played this game and they found it.
The science is coming out in it.
Yeah. Search for Lost Species from Renegade Game Studios. Number 4, we have a message from the stars from All Play. This is for 2 to 8 players, another logic deduction game.
My favorite.
Yeah, this was a little different in that there's sort of like a one person who's the alien, not versus, but includes all the other like humans, and it's you are sort of cooperatively working together.
It is a fully cooperative game, but yeah, you have different roles.
Yeah. And in the game, the alien and the humans are trying to work together to figure out what that message is or what the words are and grouping them together. And the alien has a little bit more, probably, a little bit more brain power is being used for the alien because they are making words with some of their letters that they're trying to get the humans to guess correctly. And so there's a random at the beginning of the game. There's like 4 or 5 different letters they're trying to get the humans to guess. And I actually really, really like this. There is a corresponding app to make sure that there's no errors, because sometimes you can
There's a math element to the game where certain letters are given values, and those values will help the scientists deduce those special letters that Kevin was talking about. You don't have to play with the app. It is optional.
It is optional.
But it does the math for you.
Yeah, so the app's definitely worth doing or going online and using because it's going to give you that value immediately. You can do it, but if you make a mistake, then it's going to hurt the whole gameplay.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoyed this one. It has the 2 layers of deduction where you have certain words that you have to get the other side to guess at the end of the game, but also those specific letters that the alien has. So you're trying to figure out 2 pieces of information, and the alien especially is trying to give clues that will help them guess the words, but also guess the letters.
I just figured out why you like this maybe a little bit more. It's not only logic deduction, but it has words.
Words. I love word games. I love deduction games.
Boy, marry them together. Here we go. That is Message from the Stars from All Play.
Number 3. So we have Let's Go to Japan from AEG. This is for 1 to 4 players, and it's sort of a tableau building game. You are planning your trip to Japan.
Let's go.
The whole week, and you have cards that you're going to be drafting and then putting into certain days of the week, and you're trying to align certain icons. Some of them have different ways that they score. So there's actually a lot to think about in this game.
But very easy to play because literally the game itself walks you through what you're doing in a given round. It's like you're going to play 2 cards and pass 2 cards. You're going to play 1, pass 1, or you're going to pick up 4. And so it's very simple what you're doing, but then the decisions on, which ones am I playing? And, in whenever you go on a vacation, you want to be efficient with your time. You want to make the best use of it. And this is very interesting because you're basically going to 2 main cities in Japan in this game. And if you're playing a card that goes to the other city, you have to get a train. You got to get there somehow. But then if you go back to the other city, you have to get a train. So, like, managing all of that, it's not just, playing, like, cards down. Like, you have to manage how that trip all goes. Right?
Yeah, and there's the aspect of the cards that you don't pick are being passed to other players. So sometimes you're like, I don't really like either of these. Oh, but I don't want to give this one to Kevin because that, like, really fits into the strategy he's going on. Yeah. There's also the happiness kind of.
The happiness tracker, yeah.
Certain things will give you joy, and other things are going to cause stress. So you have that track that you're also trying to manage during the game. So you place all your cards out during the rounds, but you don't score till the very end, and you kind of walk through and see how you did.
There are a lot of games that we get in prototype form. And a lot of them we just wait, like we play them and we do the video, but then we wait until the finished product in order to like play the actual game. This AEG, they did a really good job on the prototype itself. So it's been fun in that we've had other people that are like, oh, I'd like to play that again. And it's been a joy just to pull out and play. It plays like in 45 minutes. So it's one of those quick games.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the prototypes that we've played the most throughout the year.
Yeah, and very enjoyable to play. So yeah, check out Let's Go to Japan from AEG when it comes out next year. Number 2. This is Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig from Bezier Games. This plays 1 to 5 players and plays in about an hour. This is a sort of flip and write in that roll and write category game. Now, we will say this game was Kickstarted earlier, or crowdfunded earlier this year, and it's already going to backers. So that's really, really nice.
Yeah, I had a hard decision when I made my top 10 for the year of... Oh, I know this is going to be on our crowdfunding list, but it is also actually been published. So I decided to not put any of the games from this list onto my top 10. So this one and Search for Lost Species.
Yeah, Search for Lost Species that we already mentioned.
Has also fulfilled. Yeah. Both of them were definitely contenders for my top 10 of the year, but I held them back for this list.
Why do you like this one so much, Melissa?
Okay, it should not be a surprise if you've watched any of the other top videos that I've been in that I love Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Yeah. It's one of my top games of all time. And this one is an interesting take on it. I would say it's definitely a different game, but it has some of the same feel. I like the drawing of the castle. I like it because they are vellum sheets and I can put the card underneath and trace it. Yeah, because I am awful at anything art related. Yeah. So that takes, the pressure off, and it actually looks like the room.
It does, and the vellum sheets just add to the whole vibe of the game. Blueprints, it looks like you're making the blueprint. I personally like the theme, the thematic element in that, you actually are creating what your castle you want it to look like. And I was like, oh, that's just amazing how the theme fits with the gameplay. Love it.
Yeah, and there's lots of ways to combo rewards in this one, so it does kind of bring in that combo element that a lot of roll and writes or flip and writes have, but then it also has some of the scoring elements of regular Castles of Mad King Ludwig, and I really like the marrying of those two.
And if you come to Tantrum Con in 2024, which is the end of January, check it out, tantrumcon.com, we will have copies of this. So you can just play on our Hot Games area.
Yes.
And Bezier is one of our sponsors, and they will be there as well, exhibiting, so you can check out a lot of their new titles. There's a secret game that we can't tell you about that they're going to be debuting at Tantrum Con, so come to Tantrum Con.
But definitely enjoy that one, especially if you like the original. Number 1. All right, here we are. Game number 1 that was crowdfunded this year that we had an opportunity to play. And this is Raising Robots from Nauvoo Games. It plays 1 to 6 players, and it is a simultaneous play engine building game. And it definitely ticks a lot of the boxes of things that Kevin and I like. This is another one that was crowdfunded early in the year and has fulfilled.
Yep.
It did make it on some of the other people's top 10 lists. For the year.
Yeah, you can check out their videos, our top 10 guys and top 10 girls videos.
So, but definitely have really, really enjoyed this game.
We actually don't have a physical copy. People like it so much that the copies that we have the prototype and the published games are in like other people's houses. So that's how much people really, really love this game.
Our across the board Tantrum House has really enjoyed this one. It has simultaneous play, so you're not waiting for people to take turns. It has the aspects similar to Race for the Galaxy or Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition, where only certain phases will be triggered each round, and not everyone's going to be doing all the phases, so you're kind of hoping that someone else will choose a phase that you really want to activate, but you don't have enough like energy and cards to do that.
Yeah, managing all that. I like the sort of the wingspan part of the game, where in the different phases of the on your board, you have these different lines that you're sort of walking down.
Robots.
And you're activating the different cards that you've been able to place on your board. And it's very satisfying, like, I'm getting all these different resources, and I'm trying to, like, use those resources to get points or other things in order to maximize all that's going on. The engine building of the game just really is fun for me.
Sometimes you can really make some awesome combos. Other times you haven't gotten your synergy all together. But those robots are so cute and interesting to look at. Just having them on your board is fun. Another interesting part is the energy aspect. You generate a certain amount of energy for each phase, and then you can use that energy to run your line or to put more robots down or upgrade your board to unlock new things. And so there's that extra resource of how much energy have I generated for that specific phase.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on Raising Robots that we enjoy. There's actually player powers in this as well, that you can draft at the beginning of the game, or you can just randomly pick them, and I've played quite a few of them. There's definitely ones I like, personally, my game style, I lean into a little bit more. But yeah, just fun trying to figure out, like, what are they doing? How can I because you can actually upgrade your character to get even more powerful during the game. Oh, even like the unlock.
You can unlock like your robots, you can upgrade them to make them more powerful or get different benefits. I will say that the art makes it look very cutesy and maybe like, this is a family game. I would put it in the medium weight category. This is not for like 6 and 7-year-olds.
Medium plus.
So yeah, maybe even medium plus, because there is a lot to think about with the phases and how much energy you're generating and the resources that you are needing to collect and then use for things. So it's not a simple game, but it's not like mind melting either. Especially after your first play, I think a lot of it will click.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was Raising Robots from Nauvoo Games. That was our top 10, but stick around, because we have some members of Tantrum House, other members of Tantrum House, that are going to share with you some of their favorites. So let's throw it over to them.
Coming to you from Studio 3, I'm Will.
And I'm Sarah, and these are a couple of our favorite Kickstarter campaigns from this past year, and it includes Fractured Sky from Ivy Studios and Ezra Nehemiah from Garfield Games.
Now, there's probably tons of other great games that we could talk about. We kind of jumped in here on Kevin and Melissa's video, and we wanted to just cover a couple of the ones that were definite standouts for us. We're going to be looking forward to receiving copies of these games from, the finished version next year. And so we wanted to just take a minute to talk about the ones that we are most excited about.
Yeah, Fractured Sky was designed by Max Anderson, Zach Dixon, and Austin Harrison, and they raised about $1.2 million on their Kickstarter campaign.
This game is an area influence game. It's got secret information. You're bidding in the game. It features some really fantastic components like some magnetic ships and pieces, which are super cool. It's also got those game trays in there, which allow you to set up the game really quick and pull the game out and use it when you're actually playing it. We've definitely had some good times with it. If you want to see what it looks like, we actually had a playthrough of it on our channel that you can check out as well. But it's just the type of game that is got some really, really gorgeous table presence to it, and that alone is kind of enough to pull you in and make you want to try it and play it and things like that.
The rules are simple enough to understand quickly, but there's a lot of anticipating what other people are doing or where they may go, and then getting the right resources. And there's an interesting way that you can boost that by placing out specific buildings and ships. So really enjoyed it.
Yeah, lots of neat pieces, lots of cool things going on. Very much had a good time with that one. The other game we want to talk about is Ezra and Nehemiah from Garphill Games. It's from designers Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald, and it features the art of Sam Phillips. It raised about $500,000, and it's a really, really beautiful worker placement game that fits right into that Garphill universe. Like, they've got all that same art feel. They've got the mechanics that kind of just are real smooth and buttery and feel great. They use that same iconography, and it's a really streamlined experience. You know what you're going to get when you get a Garphill game, and this one did not disappoint. Really had a good time playing Ezra and Nehemiah.
Yeah, it definitely has a familiar feel to their other games, but it does some unique stuff. Like some of the scoring for some of the tracks is interesting, and it does feature a little bit of cooperativeness, because the theme fits very well, and you are working on rebuilding the wall around Jerusalem, and you'll have to help offer sacrifices and things in the temple, and so some of that is cooperative, so other players may benefit, but mostly you are trying to work your workers through your board to then maybe use the benefits on the cards, but also end-game scoring for them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the mix of mechanics. You got a lot of different little things going on, from clearing away rubble on the walls to using those same materials to rebuild the wall, but you can only use certain types of materials in certain places. You're not going to put gold on the altar, you're only going to put wood. You're not going to put wood on the wall, you're only going to put stone. I really felt like they did a great job, even like in the feeding of your family, which people you have to feed and which ones you don't. They nailed it on the theme. Really interesting. Very much enjoyed that one. And even though it barely fits in the box like most of their games,
this is a prototype.
The only complaint,
we'll give them that.
it is a huge box game in a very small package, and really, really had a good time playing Ezra and Nehemiah.
One of my favorite Kickstarters from this past year was BattleTech Mercenaries. It is a expansion or continuation of the BattleTech series of game products. This is the original, and it's the BattleTech Mercenaries has a box like this, but it also has force packs like these. I want to say that it was the highest Kickstarter of the year at close to 8 million, and well worth it. I really enjoy BattleTech. I've been in love with it since I was like in 5th grade, and they've just been doing a great job with these force packs and these small box products that they've been doing with BattleTech. And there's just something about having a mech in your hands, not this big, this is one of mine, that is just very appealing to me. And that is why BattleTech Mercenaries, one of my favorites of 2023. Another one of my favorites of 2023, and probably my most favorite, I'm looking forward to this one coming next year, Lore. This is just such a great game. I've been talking about this game a lot this year. It was in my top 10 of the year if it had actually come out this year. I just love, they don't force the story on you. You kind of picture the story yourself, and you're building the story with cards. It's just so much fun. We've got videos on this one. You should check them out. This is coming 2024. It was a Kickstarter in 2023 though.
Thanks so much for watching and seeing our top picks for the year. What games did you crowdfund, or are you hoping to get some of these in retail after? Let us know which of our picks that you liked the most and which ones are missing from our list. What should we check out this coming year?
Please like and subscribe.
7 is Dungeon Kart.
Yeah.
From Brotherwise Games.
Hold on just a second. Ben's calling. Hey, Ben.